Clear. I don't have I have President Trump's back because he has my back. I'm with President Trump because he has your back.
Virginia Fox has been representing North Carolina District 5 for almost 20 years, and she's been the chair of the Education and Workforce Committee for 3 terms, which is actually one more than the GOP's own rules even allow. In that time, she has done an enormous amount of damage, but her reign of terror will soon be over, as the waiver that permitted her most recent term is expiring, so at long last she'll be forced to step down this November.
Words matter, and ideas have consequences. That is why House Republicans are once again changing the name of the committee I now chair to the Committee on Education and the Workforce. Every time Democrats take control of the House, they swap out the word workforce for labor. This back and forth is at the core of Republicans and Democrats' differing views on the concept of work. The Bible tells us that when God created Adam and Eve, he gave them the garden to cultivate and animals to name. This was work. Influenced by Marxism, the left prefers to call work labor. This is a mistake. I reject the idea that work freely done is toil. I reject the idea that work freely done is a curse. And I embrace the idea that having the opportunity to provide for one's family is a blessing.
How many markups has your committee held in the last 6 months? We're getting close to the August recess here.
Sorry, I don't know exactly how many. We've held a lot.
You've held a lot?
I can get you the number.
Your team is here. I mean, is it more than 5, more than 10?
I don't know exactly how many.
I think they're trying to get your attention here. I think they have a number they can give to you.
5.
5. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 5. Okay, so 5 markups. I was expecting you to say 50 or 100 or 25 or 10, but okay, 5.
Well, we've had a lot of hearings.
I'm sure you have. Of the 5 markups, any bills on teacher pay that you've marked up?
The federal government is not involved in that issue. It's not the role of the federal government to be involved with teacher pay.
Not the role of the federal government to be involved in teacher pay. Okay, good to know. Have you had any markups on student safety, school shootings, hardening schools, taking actions to better protect our students in light of
we have
violence?
not had a markup.
No markups on that. Any markups on extending learning time for students that are struggling with learning loss following the pandemic? As you've noted, a lot of students ultimately fell behind as a result of the pandemic. I wonder if any bills around...
No markup on that.
The reason I asked this question, Madam Chair, and I think you've answered it for me, 8 months under Republican control of the House, no markups on school safety, no markups on teacher pay, no markups on hunger in schools, no markups on trying to address learning gaps as a result of the pandemic. Apparently, the notion of teacher pay, according to the chairwoman, completely impermissible for this committee to hold a hearing on that.
Virginia Fox has made it her life's work to decimate public education. And more recently, she's been busy accusing America's universities of harboring terrorists, which in this case means allowing students to protest the genocide in Gaza. Unsurprisingly, for-profit education and groups supporting the right-wing Israeli government are some of her biggest funders.
I rise in opposition to this amendment, and quite frankly, I'm dumbfounded. You're aware that this conversation is in public, so I won't put words in your mouth, but I will use your own words. You say today you don't want to consolidate wealth amongst the few. What do you think your tax scam did? This is about workers. You say you're worried about deficit spending. Hallelujah, suddenly you're worried about it. You weren't worried about deficit spending when it came to endless wars. You weren't worried about deficit spending when it came to a tax scam. This conversation is in public. You don't get to go back to your districts now and say you're on the side of workers. But whose side are you on? Because there's one thing this amendment will do. It will boost corporate profits. It will put money in the hands of billionaires, and it will rip off workers. So today, out in public, you reveal yourself to be the hypocrites that you are. We're going to make sure that people remember this. Thank you. I yield back.
Madam Speaker, I ask for the gentleman's word to be taken down.
Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair.
Madam Speaker, I ask for the gentleman's words to be taken down. I am not a hypocrite.
With all due respect, ma'am, you are.
Billions of taxpayer dollars are going to these institutions, and we're basically funding terrorism, intimidation, harassment. Taxpayers don't want that to be happening on the campuses. They want accountability from these presidents, and that's what we're asking for.
He's being financially rewarded by all of these far-right billionaires in these private donor events. Back in January, after she first began her witch hunt against university presidents, Mark Rowan, who is the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, he's worth $6 billion. He held a private fundraiser for Virginia Fox, where they started ranking in tens of thousands of dollars. And Truth Out has done an article about this, documenting how many different far-right billionaires are now giving Virginia Fox small private donations and hosting these big glamorous fundraisers that us American taxpayers are not able to see. It's not transparent to us. And I also want to note that a lot of these billionaires, they're board of trustee members at UPenn, at Columbia. They have been using their financial power in the university and in our Congress to push forth this anti-Semitism equals anti-Zionism argument.
Now, while it's undoubtedly good news that Virginia Fox can't run for another term in her current position, she isn't actually going anywhere. North Carolina's congressional map was changed in 2023 and now ranks, according to the Brennan Center for Justice, as one of the 2 most gerrymandered maps in the entire country, with Texas being the other. Her brand of hostile, performative politics has made her a MAGA favorite, and the more openly racist and vile and often corrupt she is, the safer her seat becomes. Yay, democracy!
Have you had a recent car accident
that wasn't your fault?